So last night there was a massacre. There was a mass shooting by a 64-year-old white man. So last night, October 1st, 2017, a mass shooting took place at the 4th annual Route 91 Harvest Country Music Festival in Paradise, Nevada. Nevada, whichever one sounds wrong. That's the one they insist is the right way to say it. So probably, let's see, it's Nevada, right? So Nevada. So Nevada, Nevada. Okay, so during a closing performance by singer Jason Aldean, a shooter fired into the crowd on a Las Vegas Boulevard 15-acre lot from the 32nd floor of the neighboring Mandalay Bay Resort Hotel. It started at 10:08 p.m. October 1st, 2017, just last night, and this is in, Nevada. Still trying to find a motive. I would like to know the motive. I would like to know what the fuck, made this motherfucker snap. Was he poor? Did he have, abuse? Was there something in his life? ISIS has claimed that he turned Muslim, he converted to Islam months ago, and that he's an ISIS soldier. So ISIS just takes credit for any fucking thing, anything and everything, right? It's like, that was us. We did that. And so, they might. Of course, the media is eating this up. There's so many tragedies, right? God, the media, MSNBC, and the Young Turks and all these comedians, they are just making bank. They are just, the era of Trump is just helping so many of these corporations, just make so much money. I bet you the Mandalay Bay Hotel, I bet you they're excited when they hear their name. Oh, shit, that's free advertisement, right? Mandalay Bay, right? That's what they fucking say. Any news is good news. Mandalay Bay, I just said it, 3 or 4 times right there, right? So, capitalism, I'm sure, dog-eat-dog capitalism always seems to infect a lot of different things. So he's firing this automatic weapon. I saw some of the video, the carnage. It's horrific, and it's old, young. There's 58 people is what he just now said, the police from Las Vegas. So 58 people are dead. So this was at a Jason Aldean concert. There was also Jake Owen, Luke Combs. I've never heard of these guys. And they were set to take the stage 9:40 p.m. And it was Jason Aldean. So Jason Aldean was on the stage when the shooting occurred. So this just reminds me of the Manchester bombing with the Ariana, bombing, right? There was 22 people that was bombed. It was just a concert. Everybody goes to a fucking concert, and then some fucking prick wants to ruin it for everybody. So country music festival, right? I don't care for country music, but I don't hate it that much. There's From a Ghost to a Ghost, right? Hank Williams the third. From a Ghost. It's got Tom Waits. It's fucking crazy. It's the insanity, craziness. It's a wonderful country song, okay? There's other country songs, too. I actually like the grandfather, right? Hank Williams the first. It's a 3-day festival being held from September 29th to October 1st, so this was the last day, headlined by Jason Aldean, Eric Church, Sam Hunt. The Country Music Festival is the opposite side of the Las Vegas Strip. So the Route 91 Harvest Festival, they've been doing this for 4 years, and they're like one of the most popular country music concert festivals in America. He was singing When She Says Baby. So that was a song that could have set, him off. He could have had some other shit going on. But this seems elaborate. This seems like he had 10 guns, right? He had 10 rifles in his hotel. So if you got 10 rifles in your hotel, then, that's, how'd you get that in there, right? That's kind of an impressive feat. Does this hotel not have any security whatsoever? Now, I understand hotels has the bellhop and the guard cameras everywhere. How did he do that, right? 58 p.m. PDT, the Las Vegas Metropolitan Police Department said one suspect, a Nevada resident, was down. Suspect had been found dead in the 32nd floor Mandalay Bay hotel room. He committed suicide via gunshot. So the way I heard it was a SWAT team. Eventually they heard him shooting. He was bursting. At first they thought it was firecrackers, but then when they started seeing people go down and people panicking and start running, just mass panic. And then he kept shooting, after 5 minutes or so. So there would just be these bursts of gunshots. And so I'm not for sure how long he was able to just keep shooting from this hotel, but they heard the bullets being shot through the hotel room. So that's how they're able to track him down, just by listening to him shoot the bullets. Somebody had suggested, what if he had, a silencer? So they were able to track him by the bullets he kept shooting. So it almost seems like this is a suicide mission. It bleeds, it leads. If it's gory, it's a story. The media, they get off to this shit. They love this shit. This is kind of like a 9/11 incident, right? The perpetrators are dead. So essentially, people are angry and there's all this bloodlust, and so you want to go after somebody and you just want to get somebody. But this is a time for introspection. Terrorism is a horrible fucking thing. Murder is horrible. It's like the worst crime. Murder, I mean, he killed, 58 people at least and counting, and then there was, 400 injured and, or 500, and so it just keeps on getting higher. But he's dead. He's dead. So, if he's not part of a larger terrorist, cell network, if he has had a girlfriend who was in the Philippines, which is really strange and fucked up to me. He was contracting with Lockheed Martin for 3 years, from 85 to 88, during the Ronald Reagan years, around Iran conflict. 95% of all seemingly crazy behavior has a rational explanation to it. 95%, this is William Glasser, choice theory, reality-based therapy. Check him out. He's dead now, but he's a theorist, educational theorist, classroom meetings, but I think a life theorist too. So he says that 95% of all seemingly crazy behavior happens because of the inability for the person to communicate with, somebody that they love. And so who did this, Paddock? What is Stephen Paddock? Who the fuck did Stephen Paddock love? Who did he love? And he was living with this, with his girlfriend, or they said it was his roommate, but then they said that he's getting a divorce from his wife. So who is he trying to communicate with? I think he did snap, but why? Why did he snap? And so instead of just dismissing him as crazy, I think we should actually truly look into what were the contributing factors, right? His motive is unknown. We don't know why he fucking did this. Is he a Bernie bro? Is he doing like the Capitol shooting? Is he a jihadi terrorist? Is he a Tim McVeigh, right? It could be a liberal, could be a conservative, could be political, could be just, wanted to hurt a bunch of fucking people. He wasn't a political person. He wasn't religious. He wasn't all about guns. So his brother, he's got family in Florida, he's been living all over the place. I don't even know really where he came from. I mean, he's got like 20 different, he was in California for, he had a bunch of addresses in California, had a bunch of addresses in Nevada. He lived in Mesquite, Texas. For some reason, he just loves living in the cities named Mesquite, Nevada, which was about an hour and 15 minutes away from this place. And then he had checked out a hotel for 4 days, so he was there September 28th. Was he plotting this the entire time? Did he lose all his fucking money? 64-year-old white man. They said he was just a guy. He was a grandfather. They would see him every once in a while. His girlfriend, his in the Philippines girlfriend. So his Philippines visiting girlfriend or roommate, I don't even know, let's say roommate, he had no prior criminal history. So 64-year-old grandfather, white male, had no prior criminal history. So who else don't have prior criminal histories? I think, teachers and the police and judges and prosecutors, right? You have to have a squeaky clean, absolute squeaky clean record. But is everybody perfect? I don't think anybody's perfect, and it almost seems like it's kind of criminal that some people would have a perfect fucking record. Is that because they're above the law and they never get fucked with? They've never been, in the hood, right? In the hood, shit's got to change, but if you're middle class, itself, the state where the shooting occurred has lenient gun control laws, so assault weapons, including automatic and semi-automatic firearms and large capacity ammunition magazines are allowed. Just seems like Las Vegas, right? If it stays in Vegas, if it happens in Vegas, stays in Vegas, it's Sin City. But it's Sin City for what? The gambling, I guess that's a vice, the drinking, maybe the drugs, the prostitution. So it's Sin City. But like the prostitution, the adultery, right? Oh, you're cheating on, but that's sex, right? So it could be the sex city. They could remarket themselves, but since they're the Sin City, big fucking massacre happened in Sin City. Wait, it's literally nicknamed the Sin City, right? Oh, okay. Kind of not shocking. It's America, so it's not shocking. It is like the biggest single rampage shooting, incident in U.S. history. Absolutely no criminal record. A lot of times people will say one of the things that everybody agreed on when Obama was calling for gun control was that they should have, extensive background checks. Okay, extensively background checks Stephen fucking Paddock. You don't get nothing. He's 64 years old. I don't even know what the hell he's been doing. He was an accountant for a while. So I'm going through these details here. But the thing I want to mention was just that he had a clean criminal record. So more gun control with the one that is probably most popular, doing an extensive background check. Until you fix the criminal justice system, until the criminal justice system is fixed, the background check isn't going to mean shit. If there's a two-tiered system, one for the lawyered and one for the not lawyered, one for the rich and one for the poor, then you're going to have, one system is injustice and the other one is injustice. They're both injustice. One's getting away with fucking shit. The other one's video shows Jason Aldean singing, playing a guitar as gunshots ring out. He briefly continues to perform before stopping and then running off stage. There was several people that said that they saw some women get shot in the head. People were dying in people's arms. There was old, young, black, white. It was a tragic fucking scene. It was absolute fucking, it's senseless mass carnage. Just fucking senseless. Big and Rich played before Owen and Aldean. That's the only one that I recognize. Save a Horse, Ride a Cowboy. Big and Rich. But Owen and Aldean, I don't know who any of these folks are. They did have a no knives, sticks, bats, clubs, box cutters, razors, or weapons of any kind rule at the concert. So no guns. That could be considered a gun-free zone. So no conservatives like to say, well, because it was a gun-free zone, if only one of those concert goers had a gun, then everybody could have been saved. There's actually some accept that hypothesis because there were police officers there. There was 2 on duty who were shot. So, this is, these are the people that we know who were shot. 58 people have been killed, but they're not releasing the names of the victims, which they should, just to kind of, assuage the people who are worried about their loved ones. If you don't know if they have died or not, I'm not saying it gives closure, but it gives you, now you know. And but they did mention that 2 police officers were on duty. They were shot and killed. There was another one who was off duty. So at least 3 police officers were killed. They were mentioned specifically, and 55 other people of the regular citizens. So it's not just blue lives matter, all lives matter. So, he has no criminal record, right? So he could have been a police officer, could have been a judge, he could have been a teacher. He had no criminal record. Just like everybody in the school systems, just like everybody in the courts. So he also had a pilot's license and 2 airplanes. I mean, this guy he's led quite a life. 64 years old, grandfather, living in a remote part of Nevada. So I don't know where his, wife, family, kids. He was living with that girlfriend or that roommate, but she's in the Philippines. So maybe, he was sad because she's not there. Right, I don't know what's going on with him. So apparently he was going through a divorce, but with who? Miss Philippines or some, other lady. Now, the town of Mesquite, Nevada is 18,000, so kind of a small town, right? That's an hour and 15 minutes away from Las Vegas, and then he was in that hotel for 4 days. He also killed himself, right? So there is no threat, so, everybody chill out. Terrorism is very horrible, it's very bad, but if you look at the numbers, the statistics, you're actually more likely to be killed by a cop than by a terrorist. Likely to die by choking on food, you're more likely to die by lightning striking you, by a shark attack, by being burned alive, by having a parachuting accident or drowning in your own bathtub, or dying by teddy bear. People trip over teddy bears, some kids choke on teddy bears. So teddy bears kill more people than jihadi terrorists. Now, this is a white terrorist, a white male terrorist. So actually I'm wondering who has killed more between jihadi and white terrorists. So, but even, overall, the big picture, the statistics, they're both small. Both of them, you're going to get struck by lightning and shark attack and choke on your food, being burned alive, a teddy bear, or you'll be shot by a cop. There's a whole bunch of, more threatening things than terrorism. So just everybody keep, chill out, everybody calm down. It's a horrible fucking thing. Dude's dead. So still trying to find a motive. I would like to know the motive. I would like to know what the fuck, made this motherfucker snap. Was he poor? Did he have, abuse? Was there something in his life? I want to see the underlying, what actually made this motherfucker this. It's easy just to say that he's crazy and he did an insane, stupid thing. But, everybody's capable of doing some insane, stupid shit. So instead of just saying he's crazy and dismissing him, I'd like to have a conversation to be like, who the fuck was he? Who is he communicating with? What led him to do this? And what could we have done to prevent a Stephen Paddock from even being created in the first place? So, yeah, people are going to be talking about gun control. Immediately it's going to turn into a political thing. But let's actually look at this. There is something with the human condition. Stephen Paddock was a human, and he did a human thing, he made a decision. He was suicidal. He was desperate. He was stupid. He's a piece of shit. Shitty, selfish, impulsive, seemingly impulsive. Maybe he was there for 4 days, but even a 4-day planning, that's not, what the fuck was he trying to accomplish? He had no agenda, no note, no this is what I'm trying to do. One person suggested maybe the CIA would have something to do with it, Manchurian, some sort of COINTEL brainwashing or some shit. That's always a possibility, but the simplest explanation is, usually true, or that's the kind of mantra I go with. It's not 100%, right? Videotape or your own eyeballs is the only way to get 100%. Some people mentioned there were snipers and they were shooting the innocents instead of the entertainers. So they're like, why are they just shooting the people? Why didn't they shoot the entertainers? So I don't know what that really means. That's an interesting fact, but I'm not for sure if it leads to the same conclusion. If I would go to the same conclusion that they have gone. He killed a bunch of people. He's got a name now. I don't think you're going to be able to get rid of just people snapping and doing some stupid-ass shit. If he didn't have access to guns, yeah, of course, he wouldn't have been able to do this. But we wouldn't have been living in America if, he didn't have access. So the point of the Second Amendment is to fight against a tyrannical government. And guess who has all the guns right now? So who are you going to choose between, the fucking Klan and the Nazis or Trump's fucking militia? You're going to go to the Hitler Youth, the Hitler government, or are you going to go to the, that's the people that have the guns. So if you're liberal, I think you should get some guns. I mean, I think that would be a good idea. I know there's some people that's purist about this, but, there's some theories. Mao Zedong, he says all power comes from the barrel of a gun. And with that in mind, the only people that have power are those who have the guns. So I'm not the Stephen Paddock, the fucking piece of shit. His house is in a retirement community, Sun City Mesquite. That's what it's called, upscale development, about 1,400 homes. So he's living in this, nice country club retirement community. It's got an 18-hole golf course, indoor, outdoor swimming pools, rec center. He's got a nice gymnasium. This motherfucker is living large. You must be at least 55 years old to live there. No children are allowed. So he had a clean record. He wasn't known to the federal authorities, but, Las Vegas said they knew of him, which I don't know what the fuck that's supposed to mean. There's no report, no crime, but they know of him. What did they know of him about? Tell me that part. That's the important part. So the cops, the SWAT team, they blow the front door open, and when they hear him shooting, blow the front door open, and Stephen Paddock just blows his fucking head off. So he planned this all the way to the, how are you going to keep on? Born April 9th, 1953, this Stephen fucking Paddock. He was living in Babylon Brook Court in Mesquite, Nevada, right in that little fancy country club retirement home. Its population, 20,000 for the city, but 1,400 homes in that, 18-hole golf course, indoor, outdoor swimming pool, rec center, Sun City Mesquite. Sun City Mesquite. So, he lived in a remote home apparently, but not that remote since June 2016. He's been there for, a year and a half. And then that lady had been living with him since January of 2017. And then there's, ISIS has claimed that he turned Muslim, he converted to Islam months ago, and that he's an ISIS soldier. So ISIS just takes credit for any fucking thing, anything and everything, right? It's like, that was us. We did that. And so, they might be extremely skeptical of this Marilu Danley. Marilu Danley is the woman who's in the Philippines, was the suspects, they're living together, they're roommates, and then he's going through a divorce. Is that who he's going through, or is there somebody else? She's in the Philippines. What the fuck? What is that? I think I saw another thing where she was in Dubai. So she just travels the world. So I don't know what he's mad about if she's able to live like that. So he had lived in Reno, Florida, or he had lived in Reno. He lived in Florida for 2 years. He lived in 3 cities in Nevada, several cities in California since 1990. So he was in California, he was in Nevada, he was living in Florida for 2 years from 2013 to 2015. So just a couple years ago, he lived in Henderson, Nevada, and in Mesquite, right? So it was an hour and 16 minutes away from Las Vegas, along Nevada's border with Arizona. He's a military. He said he had a girlfriend, so maybe he's going through this divorce, had a girlfriend, and then she's in the Philippines, so now he's got nobody. I'm not sure about the military veteran thing. I actually heard that he wasn't a military veteran. His brother was like, he's not a gun nut or anything. I don't even know how he could have got his hands on all those guns, but it's legal in Nevada to go ahead and get yourself an arsenal, a little arms hole, little Terminator 2 Doomsday arms hole, scenario. Whatever. So I don't really think it's a Manchurian COINTEL brainwash. Could have been just somebody, someone said to distract us. Trump is basically fucking the entire world up, and now this stupid shit happens, so it's just to distract us. But I think it would have the opposite effect. I think it's going to be a catalyst, because what are people saying about it, right? People see this, and they're just, I'm outraged. I'm so offended. You're offended. There's bloodshed. So I think this is a man that had nothing to live for. He was suicidal. I don't know why he couldn't have talked to the people that he loved. Who did he love? Who was he trying to talk to? Did he have children? What about his wife? Did he really love her? Is there anybody else? Did he have family? Who was in his circle? It seemed like he was kind of living off to himself, but they said that he visited, and then they said that that girlfriend would send cookies to the mother. Last conversation, the brother said that they had, that he had asked how's mom, and then whether or not the power was turned on. So this could have been, Hurricane Irma. So he's pissed off about Trump's response to Hurricane Irma and how, it's hitting his brother and mother. And so, maybe it's a liberal fucking pissed off about Trump's response to Puerto Rico. Maybe it's something else. Maybe it's something that maybe he just hates country music. Maybe there is, I think that it seemed like that was the intent, right? The festival's going on for 3 days. I don't know. Maybe it just was terrorizing the shit out of him for 3 days. It was premeditated. I don't think he just was there and got irritated and was like, fuck this shit. 10 fucking rifles, right? So there is some plotting. I don't know how extensive it is. They're all saying he's a lone wolf, and that's probably the case, and that's why they're saying he's not a terrorist, right? He doesn't have brown skin, and there's nobody else in his cell. But he could be fucking ISIS, right? He could be fucking ISIS. And earlier, scanner traffic indicated that police may have gotten Danley's name, at least in part from a credit debit card left in the Mandalay Bay hotel room by the main suspect. He was utilizing some of her identification. So he's using a credit card of hers, right, in the hotel room. That's why they were like, well, where's she at? Oh, she's in the Philippines. He owns 2 airplanes. Motherfucker can fly airplanes. He owns 2 airplanes. So why just have a shootout right there? Why just fucking shoot? It seems like he had a decent life set up for him. The AMAC released 2 Sarah Lou Danley. She's a proud mom and grandma who lives life to the fullest. Her last public post was an update of her profile picture in August. She posted numerous pictures of herself, one at the Wiltshire Rooftop Restaurant in L.A. in 2016. She said, I'm in Dubai, the Kua Sa Jumeirah Beach in Dubai. She's worked at the casino in the past. She's lived in Sparks and Reno, Nevada, along with Canton, Ohio, Springdale, Arkansas, Memphis, Tennessee. Oh, Memphis, Tennessee. I knew there was going to be a deep, dirty South connection in this somehow. So that's, who she is, Mary Lou Danley. I find it, I don't think she wouldn't have known about any of it had she been here, but if she's seriously in the Philippines, that's a good fucking alibi. I wasn't even in the country. How the fuck can you accuse me of anything? Wasn't even in the country. Maybe she planted something in his brain, got his thing, and then activated while I don't know. No, I think it's ridiculous. I think that him actually being ISIS is so stupid. If I'm wrong about that, fine. But that just shows you that ISIS just claims, they're just happy that Americans died. That's what ISIS is happy about. So they'll say, oh yeah, it's one of our soldiers that did that. So, fucking ISIS. If he did convert to Islam months ago, that might say something. 64-year-old white man, recluse, living off to himself, not around his family, right? But he has 2 fucking airplanes. He's got this rec center, and he's got this, swimming pool and this golf course. He can do everything. His life is set. He could just chill the fuck out and, fly all over the fucking country. Fly all over the country and then go home to his swimming pool, have a fucking golf game, right? What the fuck is this motherfucker? What is he mad about? I do wonder if, he had some sort of silencer, right? If he was shooting people and was just, real quiet. They said they're snipers. So I didn't hear none of that, but you heard the gunshots, right? The burst of gunshots, and then that's how they found him. But if he could have just, shot a few and then just, shut the fuck up, then he would have got away with it, but he clearly wanted to be caught. But I wonder, what if he did do something like that? What would happen? Well, how could you find him? If he quit shooting, he basically told on himself by, continually to shoot. But if he shot a couple times and then just stopped, the only way would be to fucking martial law the entire goddamn city, the entire fucking hotel, and just nobody leaves until, every room has been vetted through and through. That would be the only way. So the police SWAT team, right, they saved the people when they finally got to them. Unfortunately, the police, they were all innocents. Everybody that died was innocent fucking people. So, I just want to make that clear. Fuck Stephen Paddock. And actually the way we elevate, he's got a name. He's distinguished himself, right? He's the main fucking rampage killer. Nobody's killed more than this fucking piece of shit. So this piece of shit is going to make history. Everybody's going to fucking compare themselves to Stephen Paddock and his fucking thing. The other 2 people was the Orlando shooter, that fucking douchebag, and then you also had the who is the other one? The Virginia Tech massacre guy, right? With the fucking pictures, he's like with a backwards hat and he's got guns. He's like, I'm badass, right? So those are the top, so body count just doesn't mean shit. Unfortunately, when they say, the greatest shooting in history, the rampage killer, we've had, the Battle of Gettysburg, we had 39,000 people get killed. So that's way more than 50, and that happened in over a span of 3 days. 50,000 people were killed. So, and then there's been the Sand Creek Massacre, Wounded Knee, and he came into contact with Mayor Lou Danley. It's interesting that he has 3 addresses in Nevada, and then he's got a whole bunch of addresses in California. So he seems to be living everywhere, but just actually in those 2 states where she lived in Sparks and Reno, but also Canton, Ohio, Springdale, Arkansas, Memphis, Tennessee. She's lived in 4 different states. So, and now she's in the Philippines. She's in Dubai. She was in L.A., at the Wiltshire Rooftop Restaurant. And since he was using her ID at a slot club, so he's using some sort of, gaming club, whatever, he's using the card to gamble with, so he was gambling. Did he lose a shit ton of money? They said that he was making large gambling transactions, but not whether or not he was winning or losing. So, I mean, it seemed like possibly maybe, a person at their wits' end lost all their fucking money and just said, fuck it, I'm going to try to, I'm going to bankroll all my money on this, and if I, lose, and fuck it. Ultimately, I want to know what was the source that made this piece of shit. Why was Stephen Paddock so fucking desperate? Why was he so fucking desperate? What made him, with these candidates that are running for Pueblo City, basically, I want to know what stuff are they made up of, what is their essence? What is, if something was to happen to me, I would want people to say that he cared about the poor, he cared about working class people, he cared about the homeless, that he cared for peace, freedom, justice. So that's what I'm made up of. That's, that's my essence. That's my revolutionary flavor. And so, what is this motherfucker? What is he made up of? And what if he's made up of what the fuck set him off? Why was he so goddamn desperate? He thought, at the end of his life, there was nothing. He had wealth. He seemed to have wealth. He seemed to have money, but said fuck it anyways. 5 years ago, in 2012, he sued a Las Vegas strip hotel, Cosmopolitan Hotels and Resorts Incorporated. And it was dismissed with prejudice October 3rd, 2014. So that means it was dismissed, but there was something, that stunk about it. So they settled out of court, but that doesn't necessarily mean that they were not guilty. Stephen Paddock claimed in the lawsuit he slipped and fell on an obstruction on the floor and was injured because of the dangerous condition. What a cunt. That sounds like slipped and fell on an obstruction on the floor. What was that obstruction? A fucking cardboard box? What, a little, micro machine car, right? A little Hot Wheel. What was it? Was it a goat head? Fuck, if it was a goat head, Yeah, that would prick you, right? That would go right through your foot. Was it a big, tow motor? Was it a big forklift? Like, what the fuck was all this obstruction on the floor that you couldn't get around? Paddock has a hunting license in Alaska. So he's been in California, Nevada. He's been in Alaska. Could this be some CIA shit? Was he just, they made him a deal. They cornered him and said, look, you got to fucking do this shit to divert the attention because of some shit he did in Nam, right? Or we'll tell everybody what you did in Nam. And so Stephen Paddock, hunting license in Alaska. Just for fun? Was he living up there? He's working for Lockheed Martin in, 85 to 88. Under Ronald Reagan, Iran-Contra for a predecessor company. So, the Lockheed Martin's like, it's not us, it was the company we bought. Well, but that's still the building. You're still like, okay, carrying their legacy on. Gotcha. So Stephen Paddock has a license to fly. He's got an airman certification according to the FAA. So he was issued a private pilot license in 2003, and he can fly a single-engine airplane and instrument airplane. So single engine and an medical examination was in February 2008. Must have available glasses for near vision. He was living in Mesquite, Texas, and Dallas County at the time. So he's lived in Dallas, Nevada, Alaska, California. She was living in where? Tennessee and Arkansas, and some Ohio, Arkansas, Tennessee, Nevada, and Philippines apparently, Dubai maybe, LA maybe. So who the fuck are these people? This is an adventurous motherfucking life. Now, I wanted to make a note about the, mass killings in Mosul this year, St. Patrick's Day. There was 278 people, innocent people who were killed, bombed by American and, Allied forces in Mosul, Iraq. With this war on terror, we're going after ISIS. We said ISIS is in Mosul. And, on St. Patrick's Day, we accidentally bombed this building where all the refugees had gathered. They were all gathering right there, and we bombed the shit out of 278 people, 278 souls perished that day. So 58 people is a fucking horrible tragedy. 278 is worse. 278 is 5 times worse. So you want to sit there and be outraged about this terrorism, but don't say shit about the terrorism that happened in Mosul. Or how about the boots on the ground in Somalia? Or what about what we're doing in Nigeria and Cameroon? We got 900 military bases and then some because they don't even tell us about all the ones that we have. We're a fucking empire, and we need to, be honest about that. It's the only way we're going to have a decent fucking conversation. If you don't even know what we are, then you don't even know what the fuck is going on. You're like back, 20 miles. You need to catch up. So there's 40,000 people total were killed in Mosul, but in one day, there was 278 people that was killed. So that's firepower. That's by shooting, right? Bombs. Absolutely terrorism because he's attacking innocent civilians. Now, there might be, was it for a political reason? I don't see how this couldn't be for a political reason. So whatever the fuck he was mad about, he wanted to take it on the innocents. Let's just make it up, Hobby Lobby. Maybe he was just pissed off about that Hobby Lobby fucking decision. So he's so pissed off about the Hobby Lobby decision that he just, starts shooting innocents, and that's where all this fucking shit came from. So that's a political reason. That's a political reason. So, and it's all politics, so it'd be hard to, even if it was like some personal thing, maybe it was this wife thing, right? Maybe his heart was broken, his wife just divorced, and this Philippine lady is breaking it, so now he's got nobody, right? And he's just fucking devastated, like, oh my God, I just have no value, I'm nobody, I'm not worth anything. And so then Stephen Paddock, does the worst fucking thing. But it's definitely terrorism. He's attacking civilians. The State Department's definition of terrorism is attacking civilians for a political reason.